Hello and welcome to Drill and Kill. That's correct, my friend. This is where we drill until we kill all the mistakes. So, without further ado, let's get on to our first problem. Alrighty, and here we go, my friends. 2/3 divided by 5. So the first thing I want to do is make my mathematical model, and I'm going to create 2/3 first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and in order to make 3 parts, I will draw 2 lines. So 1 and 2, and that gives me 3 parts. I get 2 out of those 3, so I'm going to color in 2 of them. And let's just move that, kind of center it a little bit better. And voila! So now I want to break it into 5 parts going up and down, right? So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to go 4 lines will give me 5 parts. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 lines. And now I am good to go, my friends. So what you've got to imagine is that you've got like 2/3 of a candy bar. Here's 1, 2 out of 3, right? And you've got yourself and 4 of your friends. So there's 5 of you all together. So you cut the candy bar up into 5 parts, right? Well, how much do you get? Well, you would get 1 out of those, right? So you would actually get 1, 2 out of the entire candy bar, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3. So there's 15 parts in all if the whole candy bar was there, right? So you would get 2/15. And that is actually the answer. So this is your mathematical model for how that would look. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how we would do the algorithm. So let's go ahead and shrink this. I'm going to move this right up here, and then let's rock and roll. So now I can do this in one of 2 ways. I can just do mountains and valleys, or I can multiply the reciprocal. So before I do that, I need to rewrite this problem. Whoops, it's kind of getting away from me, isn't it? All right, so I'm going to rewrite it, making the 5 a fraction, okay? So I'm going to go 2/3 divided by 5/1. So I made it an improper fraction. So now I'm going to do mountains and valleys first. So I'm going to take the 3 and make my mountain. 3 times 5 is going to give me 15 down here on the bottom. And then I'm going to do my valley, and I'm going to go down here. 2 times 1 is going to give me 2 up here. And as you see, 2/15 agrees with our mathematical model right there of these 2 out of the 15 whole parts, right? Now, the other way I can do this is I can multiply the reciprocal, right? So what I will do for that is I'm going to rewrite the problem once again, and here I'm going to write it in purple, and I'm going to go 2/3, and then I'm going to divide by 5/1, right? Now I'm going to just rewrite this 2/3, and that stays the same. But now I'm going to multiply the reciprocal, so the flipping upside down of this. So 5 will be on the bottom and 1 will be on the top, so 1/5. And then I just multiply like normal, right? So I'm going to multiply my numerators and then my denominators. 2 times 1 is going to give me 2. And then 3 times 5 will give me 15. And voila, my friends, you see that this is actually the exact same as if you did mountains and valleys. So you can either do mountains and valleys, or you can multiply the reciprocal. Either way, you'll get 2/15, which actually agrees with our mathematical model right there. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now let's move on to problem number 2. And here we go. This time I'm dividing the whole number first, right? So I got 4 divided by the 2/7. So I'm going to make 4 wholes, and I'll do that right here with my fraction boxes. So there's 1, 2, and I want to try and make these as close to the same size as possible. 3, and then I'm going to go with my 4th one right there, right? So I have 4 wholes, right? Now I want to break them all into 7 parts, right? 7 parts means 6 lines. I'm going to go all the way across all of them because it'll make it quicker and easier for me. So here we go with line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 lines will give me 7 parts. And now when the whole number comes first, you can ask yourself, how many 2/7 are in here? So all I'm going to do is count up each of these 2/7. So I'm going to go, okay, there's 1, right? And now all I got to do is keep looking for more groups of 2, right? So there's another group of 2. And then here's another group of 2, right? And then now I'm going to come across here and take this one plus this one. That's another group of 2. Then I'm going to do yet another group of 2 right here. Then another group of 2 right here. Then another group of 2 right here. And then I'll do another group of 2 right here. And then I'll do another group of 2 right here. And yet another group of 2. You're getting the pattern by now, I hope, right? And then I'm going to grab this one here. And then I'm also going to grab this one here to make yet another group of 2. And keep on moving, right? So now I'm going to grab another group of 2 here. And then another group of 2 right here. And my final group of 2 right here, right? So once again, how many 2/7 are in these 4, right? Well, let's go ahead and count them. I've got 1 here, 2, 3, 4 with those 2, 5, 6 groups, 7, 8, 9, 10 groups, 11 with both of those, 12, 13 groups, and 14. So your answer is actually 14. You have 14 2/7 in these 4 boxes, right? All right, so this is your mathematical model of how that would look. Now, here's what I want to do. Let's go ahead and redo this and do our algorithm. So I'm going to rewrite this as a new way of writing it, and the way I'm going to write it is with my 4/1, right? So I changed this into an improper fraction, and then I'm going to write divided by, and then 2/7. Now, I can do mountains and valleys. I'll do that first, okay? So I'm going to take a red here and make a mountain, and I got 1 times 2 is going to give me 2 down here for my denominator. Then I'm going to make my valley. 4 times 7 is going to give me 28 right here, right? And here's the beautiful part. This is where you think about your fractions in 3 different ways. 28 halves, 28 out of 2, or in this case 28 divided by 2. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to take 28 and I'm going to divide it by 2, right? 2 will go into 2 one time, and that's going to 0 out, so I'm going to drop my 8. And then 2 will go into 8 4 times, which goes in there exactly and zeroes out as well. And here you have 14 is your answer, and as you see, that agrees with our mathematical model right there. And that is beautiful, my friends. Hey, you could have also done this by multiplying the reciprocal. So this is mountains and valleys. Let me show you the other way that you can do it. I'm going to write this in black this time. 4/1 divided by 2/7, right? And then instead of doing mountains and valleys, you can rewrite it 4/1 times, because now you're going to multiply, instead of division, you multiply the reciprocal. So I'm going to flip this upside down. So 7 will go on top and 2 will go on the bottom. So 7 halves. And then you just multiply like normal. Multiply your numerators, multiply your denominators. 7 times 4 is going to give you 28. And then right here, 1 times 2 will give you 2 down here. And right here you can see that 28 halves agrees with what we have up here with 28 halves, right? And then those would both get reduced to the 14 here, right? So either way you do it, that is how it is solved correctly. If you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now, let's move on to problem number 3. And here we go. Hey, this time we've got another whole number first. So 3 divided by the 4 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and create 3 of these fraction boxes. So there's 1, then I've got 2, and I'll try and make them about the same size. And here's my third one, right? And now I want to break these into 6 parts. 6 parts means 5 lines. So here we go. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lines. Gives me 6 parts. Let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Perfect. So all 3 of these have 6 lines. Now, once again, you're going to ask, when you have the whole number in front, you're going to ask how many 4 6 are in these 3 boxes. So I got to grab 4 of these. So I'm going to color in these 4 here, and I got 1 there. So there's 1. And then I'm going to make another group here, and I'm going to go right here. I'm going to grab these 2 here, and then these. Whoa, I didn't want to do that. Let's move that guy back. Then I'm going to grab these 2 here, right? And that's another group of 4, right? And now I'm going to grab another group of 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then I'm going to grab another group of 4, and I'm going to place them right here. So now I have this group of 4. And then I've got this last group here, but it's actually not 4, right? I only have 1, 2 out of the 4 that it would take to create that. So I've got 2 4s. Now, let's go ahead and count these. I've got 1 whole 1 here, and then if I add this and this is my second group of 4 6. And then I'll take this one will be my third group of 4 6, and then this one here is my fourth group, right? So once again, I got one group of 4 6 here, a second group of 4 6 there, a third group of 4 6 right here, and my fourth group of 4 6 right here, right? But then this group, I don't have 4. I only have 2 of them, right? And actually, that would get reduced to 1/2. Let me show you why. 2 4ths, and I divide by the giant 1 of 2 over 2, because 2 is a factor of 4, right? So I can divide it by 2 over 2. And then I'm going to get 2 divided by 2 will give you 1. And then 4 divided by 2 will give you 2, right? Which is 1/2. So this 2 4ths would be reduced down to 1/2. Now, another way of thinking of it is I have 2 out of 4. So if I had another 2, exactly double it, right? That would be 4 4ths, right? So you can also think of it that way. So let's go ahead and write our answer here. And this is the answer for our mathematical model. We have 4 and 1/2, right? Because we already simplified it. So that is your answer by your mathematical model. Let's go ahead and look at how we would do the algorithm here. So now the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite this algorithm as 3 over 1 divided by 4 6, right? And then I'm going to make mountains and valleys first. So I'm going to just take my 1 times 4, and then that's going to give me 4 on the denominator here, right? And then I'm going to make my valley, and 3 times 6 is going to give me 18 up here. And as you know, the numerator is bigger than the denominator, so that means it's a top-heavy or improper fraction. And we can think of fractions in 3 ways: 18 fourths, 18 out of 4, or in this case, 18 divided by 4. And let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to write 18 divided by 4. 18 divided by 4. And 4 will go into 18 4 times, right? And then 4 times 4 is 16. And then when I subtract, I get 2. And then with your remainder, that becomes your numerator up here, right? So I'm going to write 2 here. And then your divisor is your denominator. So I'm going to plug that in right there. And right here, as you see, 4 and 2 fourths agrees with our mathematical model right there of 4 and 2 fourths. Perfect. I love it, my friends. Hey, this is mountains and valleys. You can do that strategy. You can also multiply the reciprocal. And I would like to show you multiplying the reciprocal as well. So I'm going to take 3 over 1 divided by 4, 6. And then I'm going to multiply the reciprocal. So I'm going to write 3 over 1. And then instead of division, I'm going to multiply the reciprocal, which means I'm going to flip this upside down. So the 4 is on the bottom and then 6 is on top. So 6 over 4. And then I just multiply like normal. 3 times 6 is going to give me 18. And then 1 times 4 will give me 4. And lo and behold, 18 fourths agrees with 18 fourths up here. And both of those would get reduced over here to 4 and 2 fourths, which, as you know, then gets simplified to 4 and 1/2. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friends. Pause that video, fix that mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now let's move on to our fourth and final problem of the day. Alrighty, and here we have 1/6 divided by 4. Now when you have this, I always like to think about, I've got 1/6 of a candy bar, and I've got myself and 3 of my friends, so I'm going to divide it into 4 parts. And so for that, I'm going to first make my first fraction box, right? And I'm going to break this into 6 parts. 6 parts means 5 lines, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lines. That'll give me 6 parts. And then I only have 1 out of those 6, right? So that candy bar, I got very little of it, don't I? And that is a shame for me and my friends. So now, here we have, I got 1 out of 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to break it into 4 parts for me and my friends, right? So that means I'm going to draw 3 lines. 1, oops, let's use black. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3 lines. And now, as you see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 parts for my friends and me, right? So I'm going to get this part here. So let's go ahead and circle this. And this is me right here. And how much do I actually get? I get 1 piece out of, and then you got to count the whole candy bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I get 1/24th, right? Let's write it right here. 1/24th of a candy bar. And that right there is the answer, my friends. Now, let's go ahead. This is the answer for the how you would do the mathematical model. Let's look at how we would do the algorithm up here, okay? So the first thing I want to do is rewrite this fraction with the 4 as a improper fraction. So I'm going to go 1/6 divided by 4 over 1, right? And then I need more room, so I'm going to come over here. Actually, I'm going to make that a little bigger. And now I'm going to do mountains and valleys, right? And then, so I'm going to go 6 times 4 is going to give me 24 for my denominator. And then I've got my valleys. Whoops, I got to have the red pen here. My valley that I create. And 1 times 1 is going to give me 1. And as you see, 1/24th agrees with our mathematical model right there of the old 1/24th, right? Hey, this is how you do the problem for the algorithm with mountains and valleys. Let's look at how you would solve that if you were writing it by multiplying the reciprocal. So here we go. I'm going to use purple this time. I got 1/6, and I'm dividing it by 4 over 1. So then you're going to go 1/6 times, because you're multiplying the reciprocal, which means I'll flip this upside down, so that'll turn into 1/4. And then you just multiply like normal. 1 times 1 is going to give you 1. And 6 times 24. I'm jumping the gun, my friends. 6 times 4 is 24. Bam! There you have it. And lo and behold, this agrees with that, which also agrees with your algorithm when you do it with mountains and valleys. Any way you slice it, it does not matter, so long as you, if you used mountains and valleys, or if you used multiplying the reciprocal, so long as you got 1/24th. And you did need to show the mathematical model. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all, my friend. Pause that video, fix that mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you soon.